when I was in college studying media ethics, we were always taught to avoid politics and religion. Now, today it seems like it's expanded, like with sexuality, human rights, race relations, immigration, like they're all lightning rods. And you were speaking earlier about like biases, conscious and unconscious biases. Like, how do we like stop having these biases that impact the way we treat others?
I I'll address what you said at the first part of your question because it's important. I feel like that some of the damage that's happened is because we've got these protective categories under the law that says we can't talk about certain things, right? And so these conversations that need to happen are not happening because people are told you can't talk about that. I don't agree with that mentality. Now, I'm not saying you can make racist comments at work. I'm not saying that. But I think you can have a conversation about how different races impact different people differently, right? And how their lived experiences are going to shape the way they look at the world. I think those conversations need to happen and they're not happening, right? So that brings us to the bias conversation. It's like that's a conversation that needs to happen in every organization to talk about bias, what it is. Most people don't even know what bias means. When I first learned about it, I didn't know what it meant. And this was way into my legal career. And as soon as I started learning about it, I was like, what? Everybody needs to know this at a basic level. I'm not a neuroscientist. And if you were to ask me about the different parts of the brain, I could probably not tell you everything. But I know enough that I'm like, every person on the planet needs to know what unconscious bias is, how it works, and how it is a part of who we are, and how our lived experiences impact the way that we look at things and the way we perceive things. And that because we're all different and we've all had different lived experiences, our biases are also going to be different. So at a very minimum, you got to give people the tools to learn what their own biases are, and then give them the tools to some strategies so they can start mitigating those biases, right? And this is exactly what I talked about in my first TEDx talk, right? Is about unconscious bias and how important that conversation is.
Okay.